he pulled me to himself, wrapped his arms around me, and tried to kiss me. And in that moment, I literally died.
Ain't no money like church money. He was doing all the things to try to get his image straightened up.
This was a shock to many in the religious community. Bishop T.D. Jakes has been a spiritual advisor to presidents and a religious voice to thousands.
It's hard to put in perspective unless he's involving himself what is actually going on at the parties.
In a shocking twist, Bishop T.D. Jakes has stepped down from his leadership at the Potter's House megachurch after being named in a bombshell lawsuit connected to Diddy. With Diddy's high-stakes trial just weeks away, celebrities who once mingled at his infamous freak-off parties are scrambling. Reports suggest Jakes helped Diddy clean up his public image, and now explosive videos have surfaced allegedly showing the bishop at those wild parties. Pastor Dwayne Youngblood has filed a sexual abuse lawsuit against Jakes, and insiders say things are about to spiral out of control. Jakes knows the clock is ticking, and his empire may be crumbling.
This was a shock to many in the religious community. Bishop T.D. Jakes has been a spiritual advisor to presidents and a religious voice to thousands. Now he says it's time to pass the baton to a new generation.
This is a beautiful moment for me.
From the pulpit Sunday, Bishop T.D. Jakes announced that he was stepping down from leadership at the Potter's House, the Dallas megachurch he founded in 1996 and has led ever since.
I cannot afford, especially after November, to risk something happening to me and you be sheep without a shepherd.
This is video from the service Jakes is referencing in November. It wasn't until months after his medical incident that he confirmed to the public he had a heart attack. Now, 5 months later, he told his congregation he had been preparing his daughter, Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts, and his son-in-law, Pastor Torrey Roberts, to take the lead.
Fans are digging into the murky relationship between T.D. Jakes and Diddy, and what they're finding is jaw-dropping. The connection was first exposed in 2024 when former producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones sued Diddy, revealing that Diddy planned to use his relationship with Jakes to soften the backlash from Cassie's lawsuit. In return for financial favors, Jakes allegedly agreed to leverage his pastoral influence to help restore Diddy's image. The ties between the pulpit and the party scene are far deeper than anyone imagined.
As Cat Williams calls out Bishop T.D. Jakes and watches T.D. Jakes and Gino Jennings' response.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, T.D. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Good, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good because I know the truth.
World-renowned Dallas pastor T.D. Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs.
It's filed by a producer that worked with Combs. It discusses how the singer planned to leverage his relationship with the bishop to soften the impact on his public image of Casey Ventura's lawsuit. Ventura is a former girlfriend of Combs who filed her own lawsuit in November alleging abuse, violence, and sex trafficking.
Could this federal investigation have come out of these private lawsuits?
Oh, absolutely. If it involves sex trafficking or drugs or weapons or other illegal behavior.
Lori Levinson is a former federal prosecutor.
They've decided this is worth a lot of resources across the country. So once they've done these searches, they have evidence to follow up on. And if they've got it, they'll move on.
On November 25th, Bishop Jakes filed a defamation lawsuit against fellow pastor Dwayne Youngblood. But Youngblood claims this is just a cover-up. He alleges that Jakes tried to sexually assault him at 18, even attempting abuse during church services. The allegations are bolstered by witness accounts and phone records. What Youngblood described was disturbing, and if proven, could destroy Jakes' reputation forever.
After taking him back to her home, he says, "Come on in, let's talk." You can't even imagine being 18, 19 years of age. This person is killing it, and they're saying to you, "Come on in, let's talk." And so I did. I went in. We sat down at a very long dining room table in a room that she had. And for 2 hours, it was unbelievable. Pouring of heart, crying, him talking about my father, we talking about these scenarios. And I inwardly just knew I had finally found someone who could get it. Someone who understood. I'm sitting at this table, and for the first time talking to any man, I got tears coming down my face because somebody gets me. Somebody understood what I was going through. Well, after sitting there and having this long discourse with him, I finally look at my watch and I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to go. I got to get this car back to my mother. She's going to kill me. So I said to Bishop, I got to get up. And I got up from the table. He got up from the table. He walked around toward the way I had to exit quicker than I got over there. And when I started to walk past him, he pulled me to himself, wrapped his arms around me and tried to kiss me. And in that moment, I literally died. I could not, I tell you, to this day, I can't remember how I got out of that.
Blood's accusations are now being echoed by multiple individuals close to Diddy. They claim Jakes was a frequent guest at the mogul's infamous parties, events no pastor should have attended. Even former members of Jakes' congregation have reportedly stepped forward, ready to testify. They say they witnessed disturbing behavior from Jakes that aligns with Youngblood's claims. The walls are closing in.
It's Elder Jakes. And I get on that phone. And when I get on that telephone, I can hear water. He is sitting in a bathtub. And in that thing, he says to me, without any hesitation, there's 3 things I need you to do. The first one is, when I come to Pittsburgh, you're going to be the only person I sleep with. The second one is, you can't sleep with anybody else because I don't want to give my wife anything. And thirdly, I will take care of you the rest of your life. I can't to this day remember how I got off that phone, but I do know I made a decision that I wasn't going to the service that night. And eventually I told my mother, I'm not going to go to the service tonight. She says, no. You know, we got a rule in this house. If we go, you go. I never told her what he had done. I went to church, and the most humiliating thing imaginable happened that night at church. Bishop Jakes, getting up to preach, speaks into that microphone. I'm going to ask young minister Youngblood to read for me. And after all of that drama of the last 24 hours, I had to read before he preached.
He also claims that, Diddy, he was using TD Jakes to fix his image. You believe that?
Well, we saw that to be true anyway. That's what he was trying to do all that time. That's why TD Jakes was there, to try to fix his image. Ain't no money like church money. He was doing all the things to try to get his image straightened up.
I mean, it makes sense. And he also said in this lawsuit that when he was around Diddy, he seen Diddy give out guns, a lot of guns. And he said that the environment around Diddy
isn't just a church, it's a billion-dollar enterprise. And Jakes knows his legal troubles could trigger a catastrophic fallout. He's handed over leadership in a bid to protect the institution. But 2024 was already a rough year. First, a family member was arrested for child molestation. Now Jakes himself is facing a lawsuit for sexual misconduct. The once unshakable foundation of his ministry is cracking.
This is Richard Brandon Coleman. He is the ex-husband of T.D. Jakes' oldest daughter, Cora Jakes Coleman. Richard has been arrested on May 4th, 2022 for the continuous molestation and sexual abuse of a child or children. It is being reported by family members that the child that he was abusing is their now 13-year-old adopted daughter, Amari.
So I want to get right into it, man. How you feel about these rumors surrounding, Diddy and T.D. Jakes?
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You had to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So now what he's doing is he's making the Christians look real bad right about now.
Deal, a longtime associate of Diddy, is questioning Jake's presence at those parties. According to Deal, everyone in Diddy's circle knew what those events were really about. For a man of God like T.D. Jakes to not only attend, but be a regular, makes no sense unless he was deeply involved. The hypocrisy is staggering.
That he's going to the Diddy parties, bruh. If he's going, we know he's going to the Diddy parties, and I know that it's, I know what usually happens at the Diddy party, or what we told this happened at the Diddy parties. Maybe he need to see it for himself, man. Maybe he need to go there and really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they going to those parties. Or maybe he just going to, man, it's hard to even talk about. Why would you find a religious man, when you know that the saints supposed to separate themselves from the sinners, and why would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bro? When it's drinking, maybe fornicating, maybe, like I said, men on men, women on women. It's hard to put in perspective unless he's involving himself what is actually going on at the parties.
And it's not just Jake's distancing himself. Big names like Will Smith, Ellen DeGeneres, and even Diddy's longtime legal team have cut ties. Grubman, Shire, Meiselas, and Sachs, the firm that represented Diddy for over 20 years, has dropped him. No one wants to sink with the ship. Everyone's jumping overboard before it's too.
Diddy Combs' legal team is getting a little smaller. As the rap mogul's defense team prepares for his May trial on sex trafficking charges, his attorney Anthony Rico respectfully but regrettably requested to be dismissed from his role, according to documents obtained by NBC News. Rico, who is one of 6 attorneys on the case, requested in the February 21st filing to withdraw as representation because, quote, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, consistent with the ABA standards for criminal justice. The motion continues, quote, while I'm aware that the local rule requires that an application for withdrawal of counsel is supported and granted only upon a showing by affidavit or otherwise of satisfactory reasons for withdrawal, there are sufficient reasons related to the protections afforded by the attorney-client privilege for brevity in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case.
So the high-powered law firm of Grubman, Shire, Masalis, and Sachs has dropped Combs as a client. Now, this is the firm of Alan Grubman, who is a very prominent entertainment lawyer that represents some very big names. The Weeknd, Madonna, Chris Brown, Paul Simon, Usher, Bruce Springsteen. In fact, by the way, Alan Grubman was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He actually helped found that back in the 1980s. So, gives you an idea about how big of a powerhouse this firm is. Now let's go back to Sean Combs. So the rumor circulating is that this firm did this because singer and actress Lady Gaga had threatened to leave the firm unless they parted ways with Combs. This is according to reporting by News Nation. And it's a big deal because the rapper and producer had apparently been with Grubman's firm for over 20 years. He was friends with Alan Grubman by all accounts.
Seems to be following Jakes' playbook, claiming mental instability to dodge consequences. On April 27th, his attorneys filed a motion stating that due to drug and alcohol use, Diddy's mental capacity was diminished during key moments. If the court accepts this, Diddy could walk free, despite the mountain of evidence against
be attacked on cross-examination. Their character will be impugned. They will attack the victims for not coming forward until Cassie Ventura came forward. How do you fix that? You find an outcry witness. What is an outcry witness? An outcry witness is someone the victim told about their at the time. So 10 years ago, I told you Sean Combs raped me at this party. I told you that then, but I never made a police report. That adds credence, credibility to the victim's statement. So a lot of victims are going to be attacked because they continued in a seemingly friendly relationship with Combs. A lot of women do that. Your boss makes advances on you unwanted. What do? Quit and starve? There's a lot of reasons women maintain a relationship with the rapist. So we may lose credibility on a couple of witnesses, but the sheer number of them, I find it hard to believe that a jury will choose to disbelieve all of these ladies and choose to believe Sean Combs.
So it looks like they're going to try and say that Diddy's mental capacity could not make it possible for him to commit these crimes, claiming that maybe drugs or alcohol could have been at fault. Apparently, a couple of weeks ago, the prosecution offered Diddy a plea deal, which he turned down. We don't know the details of what that plea deal entailed, but he said he's not taking it. This is coming after they've added additional charges, like the second superseding indictment. You know that Cassie video where you see Diddy dragging her in a hotel from 2016? The judge says that it can be included after Diddy's defense team had been trying to have it not included. So according to People magazine, they said prosecutors recently filed a motion disputing any testimony that might show that Sean Diddy Combs didn't have, quote, the mental capacity to commit the crimes he's accused of because of the effects of drugs or alcohol. The motion filed on April 27th references apparent testimony from a psychiatrist on behalf of the defense and asked the judge to prevent his testimony during Combs' trial.
It's alleged that the FBI has tapes showing TD Jakes in compromising situations with men at Diddy's parties. These recordings were allegedly recovered during the November raid on Diddy's mansion. Now, Diddy's legal team is scrambling to get the footage suppressed, arguing the raid violated his rights. But if the tapes are admitted into evidence, it's game.
You can't, I really don't know why, as a spiritual advisor to him, that they buddy while he got a party with him like that and be at his parties. It's got to be, maybe it's something more that meets the eye. You know, I don't know. You know, I've had, I've talked to preachers and I've talked to reverends and priests, but they ain't never came to a party with me or nothing like that. So it's hard to figure that one out, bruh, without even saying, what people might be thinking. But I heard that there's supposed to be some tapes or something that's coming out real soon. And I guess we'll all really know the truth if anything's on those tapes.
The allegations implicate dozens of unidentified witnesses and alleged co-conspirators around the world. And some of the key witnesses to the supposed incidents are dead. Basically meaning, how can we defend against it? The defense is not even permitted to share the identities of the individuals described in the disclosure letter with Mr. Combs until April 18th, further hampering defense counsel's ability to investigate. Collectively, these new allegations require many months, if not years, to investigate, and if admitted, would require a series of mini trials, certain to double the length of a trial the government originally said would last 3 weeks. So this is an explosive allegation that on its face, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with. If they are bringing in evidence of uncharged conduct, wouldn't the defense have an opportunity to investigate it and challenge it? It seems like they're making a point. So if this evidence is allowed in, there is a chance this could delay the trial significantly. We all know Combs wants to go to trial, but how can he properly defend himself against this in just a few weeks?
Legal team tried to buy more time. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, filed a request to delay the trial, claiming they needed more time to address new charges filed in early April. But the judge wasn't having it. The motion was denied, and the trial is moving forward. No more delays. No more distraction.
Trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, a judge has denied his request to delay the proceedings, and that means jury selection could start in just weeks. ABC's Phil Lipoff is tracking this case. Good morning, Phil.
Yeah, Gio, good morning. It looks like it's going to. Sean Combs' trial date is set to go on as expected Friday. A judge ruled Combs' criminal sex trafficking trial will begin next month as scheduled after he denied the defense's request for a 2-month adjournment. The trial is set to begin May 5th with jury selection. The judge said it was unclear why there isn't sufficient time to prepare, especially since 4 different law firms are now representing him. The judge agreed, however, to allow alleged victims to testify under pseudonyms, but one star witness, Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, is expected to testify under her own name. She filed, you'll remember, a quickly settled civil lawsuit against Combs. The judge agreed with a defense request to receive outtakes of interviews conducted for a documentary produced by Warner Brothers. Those interviews were conducted with potential trial witnesses. Combs appeared in Jailhouse Beige on Friday and was given a moment at the end of the hearing to communicate with his mother and one of his sons. He told them, "I love you and we're good." He has pleaded, we should mention, not guilty to all 5 federal counts and maintained his innocence in the civil suit.
In one, his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, made it very clear that race is going to be front and center.
Let's switch our focus to the government. In my opinion, I'm just going to say it the way it is. No friend historically of the successful black man, okay? None. And they start making this case, in my opinion, as a takedown of a successful black man. Here's a man who has made some of the most important businesses owned by a black man. Run, owned, created, founded. The vision was that of a black man. What have we done? We have reduced him, not everyone, but a large amount of our society, to being a monster. That should make us shake in our boots.
So, Mark Agnifilo, obviously white.
Yes.
The co-counsel is Tenny Garrigus, white. And Mark Garrigus, her dad, who we're told is going to play a significant part in this case, white.
Well, and let's remember, you're going to have at least one witness and probably a parade of witnesses of black females who are going to claim they were victimized by Diddy. And so in order to give sort of a human face to that, maybe suggest that's not the case, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the jury is finding cues in every piece of evidence, but also who's representing him. And if they just have a bunch of white folks sort of defending him, all those black female alleged victims are maybe going to look like they're being targeted by his high-priced legal team.
Federal prosecutors offered Diddy a plea deal, one that would require him to expose others involved in his alleged crimes. Diddy refused, but the timing is suspicious. TD Jakes resigned just 1 day after the Outrage deal was offered. It raises serious questions about who else the feds are targeting and what Diddy might be hiding to protect.
Let's start with you. What happened, or what has happened in court today?
It was a pretty big day in court, Connell. We actually learned that Diddy was offered a plea deal in this case, which he rejected. Not really a surprise that when one was put on the table, he said no. He has vehemently maintained his innocence this entire time. I could not see a world where he would accept any kind of plea deal. So we heard that today. The other big takeaway from court, and we are in crunch time now, just less than 2 weeks before this is going to start and go to trial. The now infamous video of Diddy and Cassie in that hotel room where he is seen allegedly attacking her will be played in court for jurors. Now, the original video, the original surveillance doesn't exist anymore. So we have a copy that was obtained by CNN. Obtained by CNN, yes. And it was taken by a cell phone video. So you're going to have the person who took the video testifying in court and independent people there that are going to authenticate it. But the jury is going to see that. The other types of evidence that they're going to see is going to be video of these alleged freak-offs, these sex parties that Diddy had. And this is going to be an important thing about jury selection.
Interesting. We're going to talk about all of that in a minute. Anything on his demeanor or anything on, from that we picked up from Diddy today?
Yeah, it was different than usual. He got into the courtroom with his pad of paper and his pen really intently ready to just take notes. And he looked back into the gallery where he usually sees a row of family members and friends, supporters of his. But when he turned around and looked in the gallery, none of his children were there today. And he visibly looked upset. Now, about 10 minutes into the hearing, his son Justin did come in and sit in the gallery. Diddy turned a second time, looked directly at him, kind of nodded and acknowledged that his son was in the courtroom today. But you could really tell that it impacted him when he turned back and did not see any kind of friendly face.
She remains the only named victim brave enough to publicly testify. According to Rolling Stone, she is victim 1, the central figure in the federal case. Other alleged victims, referred to as victims 2, 3, and 4, will testify anonymously. Prosecutors have requested these identities remain sealed to protect them from public harassment. Cassie's courage could be the key to bringing the truth to—
I don't know if that's possible. Once you see that video of him putting his hands on Cassie Ventura, and for her to be the one to testify, and for her to be the one testifying on behalf of the prosecution, considering the fact that she was his lady, considering the fact that reportedly, she engaged in activities she otherwise would not have wanted to at the behest of him. When you consider some of the things that they're saying about him, and the fact that your ex-girl, with all the evidence in the world to come at you, one would surmise, is willing to do so for the prosecution. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not good.
All right, Cassie, she plans to testify against Diddy at the trial, and she's going to use her name. So a lot of the women who have accused Diddy are anonymous. They're right. Jane Doe or Victim 1.
Or John Does.
Or John Does. But Cassie, apparently, is going to take this stand and talk about her. Obviously, that tape of him beating her up at the hotel is what set off this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, this has just made it matters so bad for Diddy. So now that she is gonna sit up there and look him square in the eyes and talk about her side of the story, that's not great for Diddy, obviously.
No, and I think also Cassie is a celebrity, right? Millennials know who she was or is. She had a booming career back in the day. So I think it also adds some extra zhuzh when you have a well-known public figure coming forward.
Trusted public figure.
Trusted and beloved,
yeah,
too. So I think that also will hurt him. She, of course, became public. All of this went public when that video came out from CNN. So it's been revealed who she is already. And now she is not looking to conceal her name. She wants to, put it all out on the table. And yeah, yikes, it could be really bad.
Diddy's trial looms and federal agents sit on explosive footage. The next few weeks could reshape everything we thought we knew about powerful preachers and untouchable celebrities. The veil is lifting, and what's underneath is darker than we imagined. Stay tuned, because this is only the beginning. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next chapter in this unraveling saga.